Hey folks, welcome to this video on Python 3.12 and f-strings. I'm your host, Nafiul Islam, a developer advocate at Sonar. This story starts with PEP 701. Now, PEP 701 set out to fix a lot of the things in f-strings that we ran into in the previous versions of Python. Here you have an f-string with the dictionary bag, and we're trying to retrieve the item wand. Now, this causes a syntax error because you're not allowed to have a single quote within an f string that starts with a single quote. Now, you might want to solve this by backslashing that single quote, but guess what? That's illegal inside of an f string. At this point in time, you might be a little surprised with all of this. Well, not to fear, because in Python 3.12, we solve this problem with the new and enhanced f-string parsing engine. So you can see here that before wand from bag, it doesn't work, but here letters works just fine. And you can do a lot more with f-strings. So for example, you can do what you used to do, which is to evaluate expressions within f-strings, but you can also have f-strings within f-strings. However, you can't really have f-strings beside f-strings. You should be using f-strings within f-strings. But also, notice how wonderfully the new syntax error tells us exactly where our problem is within our f-string. So what changed? Let's dive into it. The first thing that changed is the grammar itself. So in Python 3.11, a string or strings are just a bunch of strings put together. Now that's not exactly the most intuitive way of understanding what a string is. In Python 3.12, however, you're going to see that the grammar has been expanded much further, and it still includes our favorite string as being more strings. So let's dive into what this exactly means using the tokenizer. The first thing that we're going to do is import a package called tokenize, and then import a package called IO. So tokenize is going to take a bunch of bytes and turn it into a bunch of tokens. What that effectively means is that we're going to take our f string and then break it down into its components. And once we do break it down into its components, you're going to see that Python 3.12 and 3.11 parse strings very differently. So we have our string. We're going to pass it into io.bytes.io because we want a byte stream that we can pass into tokenize.tokenize. And of course, we're going to encode the string in UTF-8. Once we've encoded the string, what we're going to do is pass it into tokenize.tokenize. And of course, we're going to use bytestream.readline. And we're not going to invoke it because tokenize.tokenize expects a callable. And finally, we're going to print out the list of tokens that we generate. Now, this comparison would not be complete if I didn't do the exact same thing in Python 3.11. So that's what I'm going to do. On the right-hand side, you are going to see Python 3.11. 3.11 has a lot fewer tokens that are generated. And in 3.12, you generate a lot more tokens. The reason for this is because the parser is a lot more complex in Python 3.12. And because of that complexity, it can handle things like nested f strings. What is also of note is that you get richer tracebacks when something goes wrong inside of an f string because of the new added functionality in the parser. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again in the next one.